Thank you, Ellen. Oh, wonderful. Welcome. Good morning to all of you. Good morning. And good morning to everyone on YouTube. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh. It is Sunday, August 18th of 2024. I am the Reverend Dr. Kate Walker. I use the she, her pronouns. I am honored to serve as the minister of this beloved community. For those with visual disability, I'm a middle-aged, light-skinned female, light brown hair and a short bob that's currently curly. I wear glasses, and I have a flowered purple top on and a multi-purpled stole around my neck. You all are welcome here. If you are watching now on YouTube or some point in the future, you are welcome. If you are here for the very first time, you are especially welcome. We're glad that you chose to be with us this morning. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people of many religious faiths, of origins, of sexualities, of genders, of people who wear lots of different colors in our heart and in our clothing. We're a multi-religious community. All are welcome. Diversity is celebrated. Questions are expected. Sometimes we even find answers. We're growing, we're learning, and we are loved. If this is your very first time, we invite you to please be in touch with us. If you're here in person, there is a welcome desk in the garden lobby. Please, we would love to exchange emails, phone numbers, and we'll be in touch with one another. If you're online, check us out on our website at First Unitarian Church of Pittsburgh. And at the bottom of the page, you will see that there is a form to fill out to start receiving our newsletter. And if you've been a long-time member here, giving countless hours and financial support, thank you. Thank you for keep showing up and staying engaged and loving this community and warming that pew. We have a very active community, and today is one wonderful example. After the service, there is a social hour downstairs in the Undercroft, which is just down those stairs there, or the elevator. And there you will find it is Religious Education Activities Day, so all sorts of opportunities to stay engaged that Erica Shadowsong can answer all your questions and create new ones as well. And you will also discover that the walls are decorated with beautiful, beautiful quilts and a very stunning show by Barb Gangler and Al Schwartz. And any sales for those quilts are donated, 20% of those sales are donated to the church's art committee. And we're just delighted to have that beautiful show. Today, after service from 12 to 1, if you consider yourself in the age bracket from 18 to 35, please join me for conversation in the Harper Room, which is also downstairs. Grab some food and some coffee and tea, and we'll have a conversation about Unitarian Universalism and our faith. And then tomorrow and Tuesday in the evening at 7 p.m., there are two opportunities to have a conversation about our new Unitarian Universalist values statement that was voted on at General Assembly. Tomorrow is in person here in the Priestley Room. And then on Tuesday night, it's on Zoom. You will find that link in our newsletter, and I think it's also on the website calendar. So please join me in more conversations about that. Again, we're an active community. I'm kind of excited about that. I invite us all to arrive in body and spirit. Take a deep breath and be present wherever you are on YouTube land. If you're at home, take a deep breath. If you're in a coffee shop, take a deep breath and arrive in body and spirit. We turn now to our chalice lighting, the symbol of our faith. A flaming chalice with two circles, a light that guides us when truth feels obscured or manipulated, a light that guides our heart and our mind in two circles of Unitarian and Universalism, a place where all are needed and all are welcome. Thank you, Ward. I invite you to stand as you are able for 187. It sounds along the ages.
It sounds along the ages, soul answering to soul. It kindles on the pages of every Bible scroll. The psalmist heard and sang it, from martyr lips it broke, and prophet tongues outrang it, till sleeping nations woke. From Sinai's cliffs it echoed, it breathed from Buddha's tree. It charmed in Athens' market, it hallowed Galilee. The hammer stroke of Luther, the pilgrim seaside prayer, and oracles of Concord, one holy word declare. It calls and lo new justice, it speaks and lo new truth. 11 over stature and unexhausted youth, forever unresounding and knowing not of time. Our hearts will catch the music of its eternal chime.
Hi, I'm Ward Kelsey, liturgist for today. About 6 feet tall. I won't tell you how many pounds overweight. And I've got whitish hair where I have hair at all, and a beard, and I'm wearing a red shirt and a perfectly matched plaid sport coat. So I invite you now to please read with me our collective grounding reading, which is printed in your order of service. We name our collective recommitment to care for the earth, knowing the ground we live upon is sacred. We pledge to bring new life to the earth, new life to the air, new life to the waters, new life to each other, for all life is sacred.
Everyone, I'm Erica Shadowsong, Lifespan Religious Education Director, and I get to tell you a story today. And I think the last time I told you a story might have been winter. So, yay! And this is a fun participatory story, and I'm probably going to ask for some help telling it at some time, so if you are somebody who likes to help, be ready. The story is called The Emperor's New Clothes. Some of you know this story. Once there was an emperor a long time ago who loved clothes, just loved fashion and everything sparkly and beautiful and long and flowing, and he just loved to be seen. And he loved clothes so much that he had a different outfit for every hour of every day. And of course, if you know anything about royalty, they always have people helping them get dressed. So these people had to run and help him get dressed every hour in a whole new complicated outfit. And he would stride through the streets being seen. One day, the emperor got word that there were two famous, world-famous weavers in town who made special clothes. He thought, oh, I've got to know who they are. I have to have their clothes. So they came to the palace, and they said, it's true, Emperor. We weave the most beautiful, delicate, elegant clothing of the most fragile, beautiful cloth. But there is something else about our clothing that is special. It's magic. He said, what do you mean it's magic? Well, this clothing is so subtle and so special that the only people who can see it are people who are clever. If you're not clever, if you're foolish, you won't be able to see these clothes at all, which means you'll be able to tell who's working for you, who deserves to be where they are, and who shouldn't. And the king thought, wow, that would be really useful. I can find out which of my advisors deserves to be in their position and which ones I should fire. So he instructed everybody to give them as much gold as they needed to make their clothing. Just give them whatever they needed. So they got tons and tons of money. Now, these two weavers, do you think they were really weavers? Anybody find that suspicious? They were swindlers. You probably know what that word means just by the way I said it. No, there was no clothing at all. There was no cloth, but they set up weaving, and they had a room, and they pretended to work the whole time. And there was nothing there, and they would work from morning to night. Nothing there. One day, the emperor got really curious. He's like, I've got to know what these new clothes look like, but what if I go and I can't see them? And that means I'm stupid. I can't do that. And he decided he would send his advisors first. If they could see it, then he should probably be able to see it. So he said, go and check on the weavers. Tell me how they're doing on my new clothes. So the advisors went, and you know what happened. They came into the room, and they saw the weavers working, and they couldn't see any cloth. There was nothing there. And each one thought to him or herself, oh no, I'm stupid. I can't let the king know. The king might tell me I don't deserve to be in my position and fire me. So the weavers looked at them and said, isn't this cloth wonderful? Isn't it glorious? And they're like, oh yeah, look at those patterns. Look at those polka dots. Yeah, that's beautiful. And they started to describe it, and the weavers were like, very good. So the advisors came back to the emperor, and they said, oh, your clothes are wonderful. They're looking great. They're going great. And the king thought, okay, I'm at least as smart as my advisors, and probably more, because if I wasn't, I wouldn't be the emperor. So he was confident he would see the clothes. The day came. A parade had been organized, and he was going to get into his clothes, and he was going to stride across the street for everybody to see his beautiful new clothes. He went into his dressing room. His advisors were there. The weavers were there, and he couldn't see the clothes. And they held him up, and they said, here, let's help you get into your jacket. So he came in, and he pretended to put on the jacket. Oh yeah, this is very nice. Put on the pants. Oh yeah, look at this. This is it. And they said, isn't it very light? It almost feels like nothing. Oh yeah, very delicate. I can't feel it at all. Beautiful. And everybody all pretended that they could see it because nobody wanted to admit that they couldn't. And now, for those people who would like to help, I would like a parade. Can I get some people up here to help me? Maybe some kids. You're gonna come up with me and hold the emperor's long train. Anybody? Maybe? Here, I'll come down here. Oh, right, great. So, he's wearing this long train. It's on the ground, and you're gonna pick it up and hold it like the advisors are gonna do. Okay? So you're gonna walk with me. You ready? We're gonna walk with me. Here we go. And he walked across town wearing absolutely nothing, pretending that he was wearing the most beautiful clothes. And you know what's really funny? Do you think anybody said, hey, he's not wearing any clothes? No, they all went, at least the adults, they all went, ooh, ah, can you do that? Ooh, ah, so beautiful. And then finally, and you guys can sit down, thank you very much. And then finally, a kid said, hey, he's not wearing anything. And it was silent, and the king froze. And the grown-ups heard the kid, and they said, I thought I saw nothing too. Did you see nothing too? And they started to whisper. And then they realized that they all saw nothing, and they started to laugh. And it became hilarious. Can you guys laugh? Laugh! He's wearing nothing, the emperor. And because he was so embarrassed, and he was only halfway down the street, he had to finish and pretend that everything was fine. So he continued to walk, wearing absolutely nothing, trying to look like it was normal, and his advisors also continued to play along and pretend that they were carrying this train. And by the time he got back to the palace, he was so furious. But the swindlers had made all of their money, and they had disappeared with it, and there was no way he could get them back. And that was the end of the emperor's obsession with clothes. All children to come to the door. We're going to go for our religious education activity.
Sing and rejoice, 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 sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice.
It's time for our offering now. Every month, we share our generosity with a designated organization. And this month, that organization is Reading Ready Pittsburgh, co-founded by one of our own members. I would ask you that you be generous, remembering that our religious community is made up of volunteers and staff, creating and hosting a variety of programs. We rely on your financial support. In addition to the collection plate, you can donate by texting GIVE to 412-435-1050 and following the directions. And please check the order of the order of service at the end for more directions. I would mention too that those of you who would like to light a candle or place a stone in the water bowl to commemorate a joy or a sorrow can do that during the collection, either here over by my left side or at the entrance to the Moorwood door. Okay, now I invite the ushers to come forward and we'll take up the collection.
Little blue, be my shelter, be my cradle, be my womb, be my boat, be my river, be the still gonna find your way. Little blue, be my anchor, be my light, my compass star. Be my darkness, be my danger, be the strings of my guitar. Little blue, I love you, something strong and something true. In your arms so dear and gentle, there's a home that leads me back to you. 'Cause you're not so far away, I hear you say, you'll never walk alone. Said, don't be afraid of the dark in your heart. You're gonna find your way to carry the weight of the world on your shoulder. You're gonna find your way. And don't be afraid of the light. It's alright. You're gonna find your way to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're gonna find your way home.
We have so many joys in our lives, including Ellen, thank you, and Erica, thank you. I'm sharing, if you had not heard already, the death of Whitney Granger last weekend, and a celebration of life for Whitney has been set for Saturday, September 14th at 4 p.m. And that'll be right here in our sanctuary, Saturday, September 14th at 4 p.m. I also want to share that Ali and Audrey Masaladan are both home recovering from COVID, and I know that many of you have also been dealing with this resurgence. Fortunately, we're starting to see a drop, but all of our hearts are with one another as we struggle with this continuing pandemic in our lives, even in a low-key area now. And pray that none of us get the long COVID and its effects. If you have joys and sorrows that you would like shared, I remind you to please send me an email, pick up the phone, grab me after church, come by the office, and I would like to know what's going on in your lives. I invite you now into a time of silence and meditation and personal prayer. Spirit of love, hold us in your firm embrace. Remind us of the soothing touch of love eternal, of love from family and friends and community. Remind us of the power of love to heal all the broken places in our hearts. Remind us of the soothing touch of a hand or words or a song or a poem or prayer. Spirit of life, lift our lives. Give us the energy and sustenance and resilience to reach out to one another with connection, to remind one another we do not journey alone. As we each carry burdens and sorrows of pain, we also carry joys and celebrations. For all that remains silent in the sanctuary of our hearts, let us be reminded that we do not journey alone. Let us be reminded that here in community we have one another. As we seek justice and a life of love and a life of beauty, may we feel emboldened and resilient and know that we are empowered to go forth into this world with the divine and the sense of the holy in our heart, in our words, in our deeds. May we do so each and every day, moment by moment. Amen and precious be. Ashe. I invite you to remain seated as we sing our response 1058, Be Ours a Religion.
Be ours a religion, like my sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple of space, its shrine of good heart, its creed of truth, devotion to our works of love.
If you would, open your hymnals to the old one here, the Singing the Journey one. It's a 671, a responsive reading called Freedom. I'm going to ask you to read what's in the plain face type, and I will read what's in italic. Faith and knowledge thrive by exercise, as well as our limbs and complexion. If the waters of truth flow not in a perpetual progression, they sicken into a muddy pool of conformity and tradition. The light which we have gained was given us not to be ever staring on, but by to discover inward things more remote from our knowledge. Where there is much desire to learn, there of necessity will be much arguing, much writing, many opinions. Give me liberty to know, to utter, and to argue freely, according to conscience, above all liberties. And though all the winds of doctrine were let loose to play upon the earth, so truth be in the field, we do injuriously to misdoubt her strength. For who knows that the truth is strong, next to the Almighty. She needs no policies, no stratagems to make her victorious. Let her and falsehood grapple. Whoever knew truth put to the worst in a free and open encounter.
Thank you, Ward. You may have noticed that truth is a residing theme for today, from the chalice lighting to the responsive reading in the hymns. So I open with a story about gaslighting. Several years ago, when I was still living in Alexandria, Virginia, I was off on a retreat, and a friend dropped me off at the end at my front door. As I approached the front door, I could smell natural gas. Distinctive smell, because they add a smell so that otherwise it's odorless. And I opened the front door, and I could smell gas in the house as well, everywhere. I called out for my husband and dogs, got no response, worried. I ran around the house looking for bodies, opening windows. Finding no bodies, I just ran back outside because I was feeling nausea and quite sick and a headache. And I saw that as I was headed out the door for fresh air that the leashes were gone. They're out on a dog walk. Excellent, they're alive. And I got on the phone and called the gas company. They're quite responsive when you tell them there is gas everywhere. Gas man arrived about 20 minutes later. And I explained about the gas in the house and the front door, and he went around with his meter and said, I can't sense any gas at all. And I said, well, I put all the windows up. And he couldn't find any gas at all, but he did go back outside to the front door where he found the gas meter and, yes, a gaseous emission from the gas meter. And I said, well, how did it get inside? And he looked at me, I don't know. But it was a look of, are you sure it was there to begin with? He repaired the gas meter, put in a new pipe, said thank you very much, and I said, how did it get inside again? And he looked at me again, are you sure it was there? And I said, yes, I even had nausea and a headache. And he looked at me askance and he said, natural gas is odorless. It does not cause any physical symptoms of nausea or headaches. And I immediately started to doubt that I had that experience, or doubt that it was caused by the smell of natural gas as he got in his truck and went off down the road. In the meantime, Mark and the dogs come home, and Mark said he didn't smell any natural gas in the house either. But then Mark doesn't have a schnozzle that works very well. So I was okay with his diagnosis of he didn't smell it at all, and we closed the windows. But a few hours later, I called one of my church members who's an ER doctor, and I said, does the odor that they add to natural gas cause nausea and headaches? And he said, of course it does. I get that in the ER all the time. Why are you asking? And I explained, and then it hit me. I was being gaslit by the gas man. Boy, was I mad. What is gaslighting? At least one church member wrote me and said, I have no idea. I had to look it up. Am I out of touch? And I said, yes. So gaslighting can happen on a very personal level, and it can happen on a political level. Psychology Today, this is their definition, which I really like. Gaslighting is an insidious form of manipulation and psychological control. Victims of gaslighting are deliberately and systematically fed false information that leads them to question what they know to be true, often about themselves. They may end up doubting their memory, their perception, and even their sanity. Over time, a gaslighter's manipulations can grow more complex and potent, making it increasingly difficult for the victim to see the truth. Again, that's Psychology Today. Political and very public Gaslighting is intentional. It's chronic lying by leaders. An example, the manipulation of data, or just simply saying what you're seeing is not what you think you're seeing. How many people are at an event, for example? And it results in a subversion of reality. It may include spinning of the lying and the history and the promotion of falsehoods as evidence of one's bias or ignorance. You may be minimized, throwing insults and dehumanizing personal attacks. The intent is to sow seeds of doubt at targeted groups or individuals. And the results is increased support for or against a particular ideology, a viewpoint, or policy. Gaslighting may include wild and empty threats to increase fear, accusations of incompetence, denial, playing the victim in efforts to actually disempower others. The goal is not just to seed doubt, but to undermine the capacity to question one's own judgment, one's own competence to know what is true and what is not. Personally and across the public, it causes mistrust, fear, short-term memory loss, black and white, survivalist thinking. If this all is sounding familiar, personally or on a broad spectrum, you're not alone. In 2022, gaslighting was declared by Merriam-Webster as the word of the year based on the massive increase in word search for gaslighting. The Chicks, a great musical band, they released an album, notably in 2022, called Gaslighter. You can probably draw the connection. In 2022, there was a miniseries about Watergate starring Julia Roberts, who played Martha Mitchell. It was called Gaslit because Martha Mitchell was historically gaslit by everybody in her orbit as she was trying to alert people that something was terribly wrong in the Nixon White House. There are several Lifetime movies about gaslighting, and the Harvard Business Review is offering multiple articles on gaslighting in the business world. Now, the term gaslighting, some of you may know, comes from a movie that was done in 1944. It's a psychological thriller called Gaslight. Director George Cukor, starring Ingrid Bergman, Charles Boyer, and this is kind of cool, it was Angela Lansbury's movie debut. That movie was based on a 1938 London play, and the whole thing takes place in the 1880s London, featuring flickering gaslights. They are so important to providing clues to the trickery of the plot that they're almost a character unto themselves. In psychology today, the advisors are now saying, turn up your gaslighter radar. Increase your barometer of gaslit relationships. Gas-proof your life. And they're not talking about check your gas meter. It is used so widely that some are wondering if the term has lost its impact, lost its effectiveness and its use. Others are wondering if gaslighting has permeated our culture as to become almost expected. It's becoming normalized as part of a complicated modern life. Some are using accusations of gaslighting as a weapon to shut down normal disagreements and, in effect, shutting down a relationship. When gaslighting is happening, it's a showstopper, and it needs to be on everyone's radar for its potential to destroy one's psychological health and to obscure the truth, to obscure the pursuit of truth even. We know gaslighting, or what is psychological manipulation that seeds doubt, has been around for a long time. Naming it is crucial to a healthy society and community. The capacity to undermine someone's ability to make good and sound judgments is to turn a victim against themselves. It is to make someone their own worst enemy as they question their own capacity for perception of reality and to understand and see truth when it's right in front. It renders people unable to love themselves or another, to empathize. It obliterates compassion and the ability to connect to one another, the very people who may help, because trust is suddenly gone. Across communities, it creates deep levels of mistrust and disconnection, anger and fear. Leslie Jamison writes in an excellent article in The New Yorker that was published in April of 2024, gaslighting takes what is essentially an ethically productive form of humility, the awareness that one might be wrong, and turns it into a liability. In personal relationships, some clues that gaslighting may be happening are statements such as, "Don't be so sensitive. If you're going to be like this, I can't talk to you. I'm worried about you. You don't seem well." The relationship may seem off. There's patterns of minimizing, patronizing, undermining, and controlling information. It often starts slowly, almost insidiously, and you don't see it happening until you're deeply entrenched. Some psychologists suggest looking for a parent-child dynamics of a relationship, indicating of gaslighting, someone who's trying to take care of the other, and a dependency. And that may happen in an actual parent-child relationship that's gone toxic, or it may happen in a romantic relationship or friends, co-workers, a boss and a worker. But on a bigger political, public level, that parent-child dependency is a great dynamic, the modus operandi for authoritarians. Political leaders who want control of the masses through fear and intimidation and manipulation. Historically, some examples in our own country, gaslighting has been systemically used as a political weapon against our BIPOC friends, the Black, Indigenous, and people of color, using their core identity as a weapon against them, discounting or minimizing experiences of microaggression. "Oh, you're not experiencing that. I don't know what you're talking. I didn't see it. Something's wrong with you." Or to minimize or discount medical experiences in an exam. Another example, gaslighting was used to completely reframe in order to re-educate Indigenous people in our country. The government convinced the white population and some Indigenous leaders that the population of Indigenous people needed to go to school because there was something profoundly wrong with them, and the churches agreed. Whether personal or political, the question of motivation needs to be asked, and it's a complicated answer. Many gaslighters are not aware that they're engaging in the behavior because they lack the self-awareness to see it, to recognize the patterns. Gaslighting is not a clinical diagnosis, but neither is narcissism, and we know narcissism when we see it. They are related, and the people who are often narcissistic are gaslighters. Some believe gaslighting is motivated by the desire to impose their own sense of reality. They need affirmation for the reality, which needs others to collaborate and confirm by allies. For example, some are seeing the recent revelation that Project 2025 and the rise of Christian nationalism being an ally with former President Trump is an effort to boost the extremist vision that the reality is that the U.S. is solely a Christian nation. It's an imposition of somebody else's reality. If the public leader is engaging in twisting of facts enough, if manipulation of history goes far enough, if fear goes deep enough, it can create a compliant and willing public support. The public may no longer be able to judge what is truth, and that is exacerbated by the manipulation of news and photographs. When you start to see an increase of gaslighting, you can start to see it in its extremes, but also when it is more commonplace and hard to identify. It's on a spectrum. It's not black and white. Perhaps any one of us has been the recipient of gaslighting. Perhaps any one of us has been the cause of gaslighting when we have questioned somebody's capacity to judge their reality. What does this mean for liberal religious people, for Unitarian Universalists, for us? Our Unitarian Universalist principles and our new stated Unitarian Universalist values are following the luminaries, such as the 17th century English critical thinker John Milton, who's author of our rather awkward, I granted, responsive reading. It was 17th century, folks, but he had something important to say. But in it, we explicitly name truth as a core part of our human journey. It is everywhere in our texts, in our hymnals, and in our readings, and in our sermons that have been preached for 200 years, that we believe in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, and that this free and responsible search requires us to celebrate that all beings are sacred, that we are diverse in culture, experience, and theology, and therefore we're always engaging in rigorous debate. To live this into being, we have to recognize that those who are most impacted by gaslighting are often the most vulnerable, such as those rejected and brutalized based on lies about their identity. Those who are experiencing economic devastation, those who are experiencing political oppression. To live this into being is to see the deeply personal as political, and to take seriously those who are trapped by psychological abusive relationships where the capacity to trust has been slowly and systematically stripped away. Relationships that are lived out in homes and courthouses and schoolhouses and churches and hospitals and the streets of America. To live our pursuit of truth into being is to be liberated from systemic lies of belittlement and oppression, of the white colonial narrative that those who are not white enough, educated enough, are less than whole, less than precious. To live this pursuit out is to see the young black girl with beautiful ebony skin, the indigenous boy with long fingers hitting the drums, the white trans person enjoying iced tea, the Asian Latino biracial man with the dark beard and beautiful dark eyes, to know all of these people as beautiful and sacred, as an intricate part of our life and are worthy of our protection, who need witnesses and allies and advocates. To live this pursuit of truth and meaning is to not allow ourselves to live in isolation. Those here in the pews and those out in YouTube land with our neighbors and our community and our city. To not be disconnected from those who can help us with a reality check. In that 1944 movie, Gaslighting, Ingrid Bergman's character named Paula, having endured months of manipulation, gets help from an alert Scotland Yard detective. And finally, she's able to see the clues from the gaslights in her house. And she finally confronts her abuser. She turns the table, and she claims her capacity to reason and to know her reality for what it is, a complicated place, yes, but a place where light is shared by others, a place of comfort, of safety, of honesty, and shared verifiable truth. In the end, our heroine declared clearly and without pause that the emperor had no clothes. As Unitarian Universalists, we play an important role in the pursuit of shared truth by shedding light, and to turn that metaphor around, to turn up the light, so we can see the vision that is shared by everyone. And as our Unitarian Universalist values say, we declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. May we be there at their side. May they be at our side in this journey. Amen. Blessed be. Ashe. I invite you to stand as you are able in body and spirit. 293, O Star of Truth. I invite you to remain standing as you're able as we extinguish our chalice. The words are found in the program as well as our heart. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go forth, good people. Go forth in the pursuit of truth. Dig in, find your shovels, shed thy light upon this world. Find the truth and declare it. Do not be disconnected from one another, for then this truth may be lost. Go together, return together with love and truth in your heart. Blessed be.